The NFL offseason is finally over, and with all 32 teams going into this brand new season with their sights set on a prestigious Super Bowl appearance and victory, all eyes will be on the hotshot youngsters who got drafted in this year's NFL draft. These are five of the most promising youngster quarterbacks joining the National Football League, and these guys are going to be the next superstars of the game. The perfect quarterback has accurate passes, a strong arm, the ability to properly read a defense, and is comfortable extending the play and makes the right read at the right time every time. So with that being said, let's have a look at how some of the top rookie quarterbacks stack up and what you can expect from them this upcoming season. Now, first off, we're going to start with Bo Nix. Bo Nix made a massive leap when he transferred to the University of Oregon from the University of Auburn, and he made such a leap up the draft board that the Denver Broncos had to draft him. When he jumped from Auburn to Oregon, he was deemed as a guy who was yet to reach his full potential at the collegiate level, and with the coaches expecting him to take his time, Bo ended up hitting the ground running and immediately put his name up for one of the most outstanding quarterbacks in the country last season. And now, he is one of the most consistent and efficient rookie quarterbacks out there, and his time with the Denver Broncos is likely going to be more of the same as he looks to put up good numbers in his rookie season. These may be big words to say about a guy who is entering his first NFL season, who is a rookie, but Bo Nix's arm is special, and it is something that comes along very rarely. He can pull off the most unbelievable passes, and he completes them with perfect accuracy almost every single time. Don't get me wrong, Bo Nix is not perfect. No NFL quarterback is. He can obviously make mistakes, and sometimes he will miss a pass when being pressured by the defense, and that is something he will deal with throughout his rookie season in the National Football League, but he will always have that ability to pick out the most unbelievable passes and deliver them with perfect accuracy on time and on target to his wide receivers. But that's not his most impressive quality. What makes Bo Nix better than the others is how fast he rose through the ranks. Don't forget, people expected him to take his time when he moved from Auburn to Oregon, but here he is making his way into the National Football League. He can learn and develop new skills much faster than the other rookie quarterbacks in this class, which certainly makes him stand out and makes him a very promising quarterback coming into the season, who should have no problem settling right into the NFL despite being thrown into the fire after being named the Denver Broncos starting quarterback by head coach Sean Payton. He can read the defense very well, and he can see space before it's even there. As for his presence, he can make time out of nothing, and he isn't in a hurry to release the football. He's more than happy to be patient in the pocket. He's not a guy that gets a lot of happy feet, but when he does have to extend the play, he can do great things with that as well. And with an option to take off and run, it makes him a solid and respected dual threat quarterback at the next level. He can use his time that he creates to wait for his teammates' runs to develop or decide on whether he needs to take off and run by himself or not. So in a way, his pocket presence does help his decision making, and that is exactly what you want in an NFL quarterback, and it is scary to think that he will only continue to get better with time. Next up is unfortunately a guy that we won't be seeing very much of this season because of an injury, and that is the Minnesota Vikings' J.J. McCarthy. Now, he was probably going to need another year or so additionally to catch up to speed in the NFL, and now he will likely be behind schedule even further due to his injury that is going to keep him out for the entire 2024 National Football League season. When you think about J.J. McCarthy, you think back to his time at Michigan and a guy who was handing the football off to Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. But J.J. McCarthy is only 21 years old, and he is ready for the NFL, and he has plenty of time to grow into the role of being an NFL starting quarterback. He had a perfect system at the University of Michigan to stand out in. He was given the freedom to run when he had the opportunity, which not only allowed him to develop that aspect of his game, but also took some pressure off of him in the passing aspect of his game. His accuracy is scary. I mean, it is on point, folks. He can pick out the tiniest of spaces between the defense, which makes his short to intermediate passes very dangerous. His deeper passes, though, much like most quarterbacks, slightly less accurate, but he's still going to get you there. He's still going to get the ball downfield. He might not hit it on the dot every time. He doesn't have as strong as a throwing arm as some of the other quarterbacks in the NFL. However, the vision is there. He can see a pass well enough. He just needs to improve upon his accuracy and consistency. Now, where his passing lets down, he does make up for it with his legs. He is always a threat to take off and run when the defensive ends or defensive line lose contain. Now, it is one thing that makes McCarthy stand out along with a guy like Penix, who we previously mentioned. As far as J.J. McCarthy's decision-making, he does need to maybe improve on his decision-making a little bit, but so far he has shown that he is more than capable of that throughout his time in college, and that is only going to get better during his time in the National Football League. Moving on to our third quarterback, it is the Atlanta Falcons' Michael Penix Jr. Now, a lot of people are going to say, McCarthy might not be as well known as Penix because Penix lit the college football world on fire last season when he came to Washington. But, Michael Penix it's crazy. A lot of people are comparing him to Michael Vick because of his ability to run the football, not just the fact that they share the same name, not the fact that they're both Atlanta Falcons quarterbacks. But the Atlanta Falcons have put their trust in him, even as a rookie, and it seems more likely he will sit behind Kirk Cousins this upcoming season. However, as far as breaking down Michael Penix, his accuracy, he put up plenty of crazy highlights last season at the University of Washington, but with crazy highlights comes maybe a less of a focus on accuracy. Yes, he does have tendencies to let a couple passes go wayward if he is under pressure or if he is forced to throw off of his back foot or off balance in general, but he will improve upon that throughout his time in the NFL, and sitting behind a guy like Kirk Cousins is only going to help him do that in the upcoming season. He has the ability to throw the deep ball. He's able to pick out the tiniest gaps in the defense, and he is accurate when it counts. As far as reading the defense is concerned, he does pretty well at reading an NFL defense. He should not have a problem with that. He is able to get the ball there on time. He's able to fit the ball into tight windows. He throws the football hard. Now, I will say Michael Penix might not have the pocket presence of the guys like J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix because he is more of a runner, but he has the potential to improve upon that, and once he learns to stay in the pocket more often, he will be a very dangerous quarterback. But he is definitely a threat to take off and run at any moment as well, making him that much better. As far as Penix is concerned, has the ability to be one of the best prospects in this class, and when it comes down to his decision making, he will develop that with experience. He is only 24 years old, maybe a bit old for an NFL rookie, but not old enough to where you're like, well, if he's not going to learn it now, it's not going to happen. He has plenty of time. He has the experience from playing in college. He will improve his decision making. He will improve his pocket presence as his career goes on. I mentioned he is the best deep ball passer that we've talked about so far, and he has shown that with his ability to pick out crazy deep passes to his wide receivers, he will have a bright future in the NFL throwing the deep ball. But he can also ping it into the small windows in the defense if needed. He isn't exactly the biggest guy on the field, meaning if he chooses to run the football, he needs to avoid contact. His size isn't necessarily a weakness because it allows him to be nimble and maneuver his way past defenders, leaving them tackling the air and missing him entirely. But if he gets caught, he might be risking a serious injury. That's where his decision making comes in. He needs to be able to tell when he can run and when he can evade defenders. He can usher in an era of offensive dominance with the Washington Commanders, but if he doesn't get better at evading the rush or evading tackles, we're just one bad tackle away from seeing his career fall victim to injuries. That is something teams actually take into consideration. The Commanders would know that Jayden probably can't take a lot of hits, but speaking of longevity, with a skill set like his, Jayden is probably going to succeed during the early years of his NFL career. It's just about how long he can keep it up. One thing's for sure, though. Teams would think twice before letting him run at them, because if he gets going, he can be pretty rapid. After all, he was the second pick in the draft, so the Commanders can definitely see what everybody else is seeing. Moving on to yet another Heisman Trophy winner, it is the Chicago Bears' Caleb Williams. And as good as Jayden Daniels was, Caleb Williams was the number one overall pick in the NFL draft. Plenty of huge words were said about Caleb Williams before the draft, and the Chicago Bears agreed with all the opinions as they selected him with the number one overall pick, and here's why. The 22-year-old is probably the most complete rookie package there is. He's already tipped to be the face of some NFL team, if not the entire NFL, and that's because he has a gem of a right arm. This young man can pull off outrageous passes even if he's caught off balance. The accuracy, the arm strength, right up there with some of the best. His reading of the defense is pretty great as well, and he relies on it quite a bit when he's extending plays, which is another thing he really excels at. That's what teams love so much about Caleb Williams, because if he can't find a pass, he can take off and run with the football, or he will extend the play and find the wide open wide receiver and then release the football and get it there on time and on target for a big play. And with guys like Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Cole Kmet, he's going to have plenty of guys to throw the football to this upcoming season. But the most impressive quality that Caleb Williams possesses is his ability to, again, not only extend the play, but take off and run, as we've previously mentioned. He is arguably one of the fastest quarterbacks in this rookie class, and I mean, he can get around the edge and turn and burn and get upfield better than most of the quarterbacks in the NFL right now. But here's the problem. NFL defenses will adjust to that. It seemed like in college at USC, he always had time to do what he wanted with the football. NFL defenses, again, that's not going to happen. They will close him down much faster. They will be able to apply much more pressure than college football teams last couple seasons, I should say. But that leaves the question, will Caleb Williams be as effective when he can't rely on his ability to extend plays? We'll have to wait and find out. Maybe you've seen some of that throughout the preseason, but the preseason and the regular season are two different animals in the NFL. His pocket presence, pretty solid, but he should expect the time he has on the ball to be much less than before during his days in Southern California. But with experience, he will certainly develop the skill of throwing the football and when to stay in the pocket, knowing when to stay in the pocket, knowing when to leave the pocket, knowing when he has to scramble, knowing how much time he has to do each and everything a quarterback needs to do to succeed. Now, it may be too soon to call, but Caleb Williams has the potential to be one of the future all-time greats in the National Football League. There is a huge step up in the level of play in the National Football League, and these rookies will definitely feel that this upcoming season, so it's probably not the best idea to evaluate the rookies off of their performances at the collegiate level, but sadly, as of right now, except for preseason football, and depending on when you watch this video, a couple games, maybe 1 or 2 games, that's all we have to go off of at the moment. I guess we'll have to wait and see how they do in the NFL to find out how great they will actually be. And until then, make sure you watch this next video for more content on your favorite sport.